fridge. Because what do you mean that it never had to be this hard for us? Like, what do you mean in other countries they don't have to spend 20% of their paycheck on groceries? What do you mean in other countries everyone can own homes because they're not paying $2,000 a month in rent, or that their mortgages aren't like their entire paycheck? What do you mean that people in China work one job and they don't even work 40 hours and they can easily afford their life? And then I'm over here working 60 hours a week, just me as a single parent.
Convert it into US dollars. That's $1.16, 40 cents.
I have never seen Americans this pissed, and this is sad. So I have a question for you. If a country can't afford groceries, if the population of a country, like people of a certain country, can't afford groceries, so which is a basic need, what else can they afford? So they're so pissed that Chinese don't have to spend 20% of their salaries to afford groceries, and they have to work 2 jobs, and they're draining themselves, working 40 hours. You want them to explain a lot of things that I don't want to go into right now, because this video has a lot to uncover. So Rednote and all the ban of TikTok that is going around, it is an eye-opening to so many Americans. So right now, Americans are now able to see the world through other people's lens, and not just the Americans' lens. We are here to uncover. And this whole situation with a Rednote app and Americans being TikTok refugees to a Chinese app, Chu. I don't know if I know how to pronounce that app correctly. Excuse me if I'm wrong. So I am coming to realize that not only Americans that were living an illusion of life in America, even Chinese were thinking that Americans had the life, they claimed to have. So even then, they thought things were better in America than they are in their country. So they always say that the grass is not always green on the other side. Let's find out what is going on here. This is Comfort for Life, and I bring to you compilation of TikTok videos for educational purposes. If you're new here, consider subscribing to the channel. And to my returning viewers, I love and appreciate you. Let's dive into this.
My top 3 moments that made me go, holy crap, we are victims in America. Number 1, I saw somebody chopping up vegetables and I was like, wow, I can't believe he's chopping them so big. Like, if he's trying to feed school kids, it's a good quantity, but like these are really big chunks. I was like, what the heck was he doing? It was for the pigs. He was chopping up beets and carrots and pumpkin and cabbage for the pigs. And I thought that was school cafeteria food, because that's how bad American lunch food is.
Having a conversation with someone in China in Chinese. Listen, I know the technology to do this has been around for a while, but...
Guys, help me complete that sentence. So the technology to do this was there, but I didn't bother doing it because I trusted my government and I trusted everything that they were telling me. So there are also Chinese who are also shocked. They're asking questions on Rednote. So this connection and this bond that Americans and Chinese are building, it's kind of, it's a discovery for both of them. So listen up to the few things that Chinese also had to ask Americans concerning things that happened in their countries.
My first American friend told me she probably has to stop going to school because she has to pay lots of bills and the tuition fee is very expensive. We talked a lot, and I feel she's nice, she's lovely, she's smart, she's educated. I just don't understand. How can US government waste such talented human resources like her? They're actually killing the hopes from young people of this nation. I'm very angry. Why those capitalists push American students so badly? You need to keep people survived first. Then you make money, okay? As the Chinese spy, I'm teaching you how the things work. Watch and learn.
He's asking if the rumors are true that Americans have to take out loans to buy food. Ooh. We are ghetto.
might sound stupid, but one thing I realize about this whole Rednote situation is that I'm still shocked that you guys have 2 jobs to cover living cost. And from all these years, I thought you guys don't eat fresh vegetables because you don't like eating vegetables. I never thought like it's expensive. I never would thought fresh vegetables are expensive. Like, I couldn't understand.
This conversation right here, a Chinese couldn't understand that in California, people who lost their houses are not getting free houses. I feel like, guys, a Chinese living in heaven. Like, where are they living? Are they still on this planet Earth where they get to lose stuff and get things for free? Like, I don't get it. Like, listen to this conversation
I had with a fellow realtor in China on Rednote. So he reached out and says, "Hi, how are you? Welcome, to Xiaohongshu." And I was like, "Thank you." And he was like, "How are you enjoying your time on here?" I said, "I think it's great." I said, "I'm actually picking up Mandarin more quicker." And he says, "So you're a realtor. Where are you?" I said, "I'm in California." And he was like, "Oh, okay." And he was like, "Well, how are you feeling?" I said, "I'm a little tired." I said, "I've been, getting resources and helping people out find housing who have lost their homes in the fire." And he was like, "Oh, yeah, I heard about that. That is devastating." I said, "Yeah, it is." He says, "Well, why don't y'all just put them in another house at no cost?" Y'all, I had to take a pause on that. And I got a little emotional. And I told him, it's not that simple. I wish it was that simple. I said, but it's not that simple here in the United States. And he's like, "What do you mean?" I said, I know I gave him an example. I said, "I found a corporate apartment for $299 a day." He says, $300 a day. I said, "Yeah." He says, "Why are they charging?" I'm like, "Capitalism." And he was like, "That just doesn't make any sense. You all are in a disaster area." He says, "Where is everybody going to live? In tents?" I said, "Yeah, that's what's actually happening now." And I got a little bit more emotional. And I explained to him my story. I told him, I said, "Well, let me explain to you." I said, "I was homeless. I got sick and I lost my place. And I was in the shelter system for 1.5 years. And then I ended up getting an apartment that was owned by a slumlord. Wasn't taking care of it. And I said, I had to evict myself because sewage backed up in the bathroom. I only had one bathroom. And they didn't want to fix it. They didn't want to fix anything. I said, 100-degree heat with no AC. He was like, "What?" I was like, "Yeah." I said, "It's not like how you guys live over there in China. And I know not everybody is rich over there, but y'all live pretty well. And I said, just like y'all have a car that they banned from the United States that only costs $9,000, fully loaded. It's it's not intermediate. I think it's a compact car, but a little bigger than a compact car. I say it's about the size of a Prius, fully loaded. All kinds of technology in it, $9,000. But the United States banned China's automobiles because of the technology is so good. We are so far behind China in tech, it's ridiculous. But they want to, do H-1B visas, but only for certain people. And, the thing is, the fact that we're now getting to know the truth, and they're learning the truth too, is, I think it's amazing. They should know the stories. They should know everybody's stories because everybody's story is different. But the fact that he thought it was just that simple to get somebody into another place for free, which there's people who have put people in hotels for free. But it's not that block is not going to last forever. But I got a little emotional because you know what? If I had the power to just put everybody in a space that they could stay in for free as long as until their house get built, I would do that. But it's not that simple. But he was like, they do that over there. So I'm going to say this. I'm going to close with this. Now we know how our government sees us.
In response to this woman crying on the internet over the cost of living in the US and the fact that they can't afford groceries, Black Americans gave their perspective on this, and they said that they have been speaking about this all this while, but white Americans never cared. They gave it a deaf ear because they weren't affected. But they were the ones who are working 2 to 3 jobs to afford groceries. But now that the situation is affecting white Americans, they start talking about it and they're acting as if they never knew that that was the situation. But Black Americans confirmed that they have been calling it out. But they also brought in new things that I would want you to take a listen to this.
Doesn't understand why, as Americans, we have to work so hard just to have so little. She doesn't understand why we're spending 20% of our income on groceries. And she goes on to list a lot of problems, and she's like, it didn't need to be this hard. What do you mean we didn't have to do it like this? And I started to empathize with her, but then in the back of my mind, I thought, girl, this isn't new. Why is this new to you? And then I realized for quite some time, a lot of white people in this country, the issues that Black people had, they thought they were just Black people issues. When Black people were spending 20% of their income on groceries, white people thought, oh, that's a Black people problem. When Black people had to work 2 jobs to make ends meet, white people thought, that's unfortunate. And now that the Black people's problems have reached white people have hot tears, and they don't understand how it came to be this way. Now, this is one of the reasons why it's important in any country or any place to listen to those who are marginalized. Those people are kind of like a canary in the coal mine, letting you know, hey, we got some issues. You can't see it, and maybe it's invisible to you, but they are on the way.
Let's be honest, Sally. The reason why we have to spend as much money as we do is for a couple reasons. 1, racism. 2, corporate greed. And 3, a lot of YT individuals never see the plot of the movie. That's just what it is at the end of the day. 1 is corporate greed. This capitalist system that we have generated and created, every single time that we as a people try to realize, hey, we need stronger unions, we need better pay, we need this, we need that, you choose to vote against it. You choose to step aside and allow corporate greed to take everything else. It doesn't matter what the majority of the populace think. Yeah, I don't care about that. Other countries care about their people, care about their livelihoods, their accessibility to being able to have a more leisure lifestyle. Okay? That makes all the sense in the world. For you to cry and not understand where you are in the position that you are in doesn't make sense to me. We could have had free healthcare, universal healthcare since the 60s. You know why that never happened? It's because of racism. Racism. Anytime that there are things that would make America better, because a certain group does not want Black people or people of color to take advantage or use those same things, they rather say no and dig a ditch even further to impoverish their future generations than to instead just do the right thing in the first place. That's just what it is at the end of the day. So there's no reason of crying, boo-hoo, and all this other stuff. Y'all could have easily prevented this. You chose not to. So, congratulations. You play dumb games, you win dumb prizes. Now you have to figure out, how can I pay rent? How can I pay a car note, insurance, and everything else as it consistently keeps going up by 10 to 15%? Because remember this, the average for a 1-bedroom now is $2,000. That's the average now, depending on where you live. Buying a home, dream. Like, share, comment.
All the white people going on Xiaohongshu, and they're like, oh my God, China, they have everything. Their food is cheap. They have good schools, blah, 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 blah. Why don't we have that? Racism. It's because of racism, babe. Yeah. And post-Reconstruction era South, after those traitors lost the Civil War, the South was devastated. This is just an example. The South was devastated, like in every way you could think of. The Northern troops had burned their farmland. They had blown up railroad tracks so you couldn't transport anything. They liberated all the enslaved people. They had burned their houses to the ground, okay? The South was It was so bad. Northern newspapers were sending down photographers to take photos, to take like, photographs, and they were going back up north, and the editors and photographers were selling little books to other Northerners, like poverty corn. That's how bad the South was after the Reconstruction era, after the Civil War or the Reconstruction era. Do you know what white Southerners' primary concern was? Not housing and feeding and clothing their families, not trying to rebuild their economy. No. It was making sure they inflicted massive physical, mental, and economic terror on formerly enslaved people in the South. That was their modus operandi. That was very important to them. More important than rebuilding their economy was harassing Black people. And that's just an example of the centuries white people have spent cutting off their own toes just so we don't have anything. But the gag is, now you don't have anything either. We don't have anything, but neither do you. And that's why we don't have nice things. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Everybody else around the world, Russians, Hispanic, Caribbeans, Africans, Asians, have been trying to tell American people for years on this app that your country ain't shit, and you didn't believe us. We have been trying to tell these people for years that America is that one country in 5 Gucci belts with no side tooth, and you lot didn't want to hear us. It took an app to make you realize that compared to everybody else around the world, you can't afford food. It took an app to make these people understand that unlike them, everybody else around the world have universal healthcare. It took an app to make these people realize that unlike everybody else in the Western world, include themselves, the rest of us ain't dealing with shit like credit. We actually own shit back home. I wonder what they're gonna do when they find out that in certain countries, you don't even need a card to pay for things, nor do you need contactless. You can just use your hands. Why do you think the leaders of your so-called free world have spent years and years invading other people's country with their troops? Why do you think everybody else around the world stay collecting sanctions like Pokemon balls, bruv, from America the minute we struck some form of resource? Why do you think this false narrative is constantly being created against other people around the world? We come to you man's countries and you lot just automatically believe that we're impoverished. Why do you think your workers' rights are so bad to the point where niggas are working 3 jobs and still living from pillar to post? Why do you think your education system is so bad? That country is designed to keep humans in the dark, babes. This is why when we are telling you, you need to travel and go see the world for yourself instead of judging other countries, and humans are turning around talking about, oh, America is so big, why would we leave? That's why we look at humans like dickheads, bruv. But it's not all lost. Because the same world leaders who were trying to lie to you turn around and fuck themselves so hard trying to ban that app, they pushed humans in the light of truth, bruv. So now all you niggas need to do, if you really want to know more about what's really going on in the world outside of the bullshit that they're telling you, if you are privileged enough and you have a passport or you have a visa that allows you to travel, fuck that job and go and see the world. Because believe it or not, you niggas for years have been living in the fucking matrix. Good night.
I'm moving to China. Fuck New York City. I am moving to China tomorrow. So I go ahead and create my Rednote, right? And I'm thinking that this place is like North Korea. Like everybody's living in poverty, they're oppressed by their government. Oh my God, is all I have to say. The first thing I say, you guys really have to work more than one job just to survive and like have a home and food? What? Americans are showing their medical bills and the Chinese don't know what to do. They're like, what? Like they can't even believe it. They're like, ours is free, and when you go to the hospital it's like $100 including treatment. And then people are showing their ambulance bills because our ambulances are thousands of dollars. Theirs is free. And don't even get me started on the grocery hauls. These people go in these grocery haul. Like I've never even heard of that word here. Like we're just like, you know, eating crackers to survive here to pay rent. Like they're hauling groceries that like would be worth like $1,000 here, but for them it's like nothing. And it's all healthy, you know, high quality food. Hence why they're all skinny, gorgeous, and their skin is perfect. So
I just don't have words for this. And their trains look like they came out of the year 3000. It literally looks like out of a frickin' movie. And there's no homeless people. And they're immaculate. And like extremely high speed. Like New York City subway. Like, what the fuck are we doing here? Their cars and phones are 10 times more technologically advanced than ours. And affordable. And you know what's funny? We can't have them here. We're not allowed. They're banned. They're banned. And do not even look up Chinese kindergarten. Don't look it up. It'll make you so mad. I almost swan dove out my window when I saw Chinese kindergarten. Meanwhile, in our kindergarten, they can't even teach children, like, what's a boy and what's a girl. And they're teaching kids that they can identify as animals here in our country. So, I don't think we're the problem. I really just don't think that we're the problem anymore. And this one's my favorite. They're all confirming that they don't have a social credit system like we've been told. But you know what we have over here is a credit score. We can barely do anything without it. So it's just almost like they're telling us that they have things that they don't, but we are the ones that actually have them. Interesting. So if you want to ruin your day and cry yourself to sleep every night and rethink your entire life and society and everything you've ever been told, go make a Rednote.
I've been lied to my whole life, and it's really, really, really embarrassing to be an American right now. It's really painful to know how much of my life has been wasted and how much money has been wasted and taken from me. And I'm traveling now outside of the United States, and I'm realizing how much better it is elsewhere. And I've only been to a couple countries and different cities so far, but I also am realizing how much we were lied to about China. And I know that we've been told they're our enemy, and and yet we have so many products from them in our homes in America. But it's people around the world can afford to live and enjoy their lives in a lot of countries. And in America, we can't. That's why I left. I couldn't afford to live there and not work 7 days a week. And I have been out of the country since September, and I am living comfortably. And I'm not running out of money unless the government decides to take some money from me. I'm okay. But I'm embarrassed. I'm really shattered and really disappointed. And people ask me where I'm from, and so far I've told people where I'm from, but I always cringe inside, and I'm like, I don't want them to know this. And most people know I'm American anyway, just looking at me. A lot of them say, oh, English? But I haven't said I'm from Canada just because it's hard for me to lie. But I always cringe, and I've met some people who've said, oh, I want to go to America, and all I can think is, oh my God, don't. Just don't. And I'm looking forward to going to China. I was going to go in the fall. It looks like it might be 2026 now. We'll see. But I want to visit it in person. It's absolutely beautiful. I realize that one of the things that's really struck me is, we're waking up. We're waking up even more, and there is no going back from this. Now that so many people have discovered Rednote, and it's all over TikTok now, until they take that away from us, it's just really it's uplifting because so many more people are waking up to how much we were lied to about China. And yes, I know China has issues as well, but I'm grateful for that because there's no going back. We can't go back now. And the government can't lie to us anymore. And we're just going to say, oh, okay, they've lost control of us. And going forward, we're not going to go back to just being subservient and saying, yeah, okay, well, this is the way it is. And this is, we have to do these things and we have to obey. And there's no going back. And that's the beauty of this. There's no going back now. They can take Rednote away from us. That can be destroyed. We'll find another way. But we have communicated enough on TikTok and we're communicating enough on Rednote now. Thank God that our eyes are wide open to how much we've been robbed, literally robbed of all our money. And, it's not a quick solution. We've done a lot in a few days, and I'm really, really grateful for that. I'm on Rednote, and I'm going to stay there, and I'm going to continue my travels, and my eyes are going to open even wider. And, I hope that one day I can proudly say, yes, I'm from America. I want to live long enough to be able to proudly say, yes, I'm from the new America, the really free America. And I know it's going to happen. I just hope I live long enough to see it. That's all I got to say right now.
Hey, U.S. government, you have some explaining to do. So I downloaded the little red book and I made a new bestie. We were just talking about the differences and similarities between China and the U.S. And she ended up going to the market and sent me a picture of her local market. I picked what was familiar to me and what I knew, and that was corn on the cob. I seen that 1 kilogram, which I found out was 2.2 pounds, was 6.90 yen. So I went on Google because it's free, right? And I looked up to see what would that be in US dollars. 94 cents. 94 cents. What would it be here in America, you might ask? When you do the math, $7. Is this what they don't want us to know?
So I went to check out the grocery hauls in Xiaohongshu, and I am gonna report my findings. Convert it into US dollars. That's $1.16, 40 cents, 78 cents, 41 cents, 80 cents, 90 cents, $1.35, 67 cents, and the total is
The government has been lying to us about China for decades. Now that we've all gotten on Rednote and we can see the lifestyle that all of the Chinese people have, a lot of us Americans are fucking pissed. The price of going out to eat, the price of groceries, public transportation. And the people on Rednote are so fucking flabbergasted that we have to work 2 jobs just to keep our roof over our head. US government, you fucked up big time, which is not a surprise because you do it constantly. Even if TikTok gets banned, I've seen enough. I have been woken up. I grew up fed propaganda that China is evil and that they treat their citizens like shit. I mean, I was raised by MAGA. It's the main reason why I feel so radicalized. American culture, American society is toxic, gross, poisonous. They poison our food. They jack the prices up of everything. We don't get health care. We don't get good public transportation, even though we're all on the same fucking continent. We destroy the planet for money, power, and control. Our government is funky as fuck on the left and on the right. Don't get it twisted. This is a class war, and I will not be giving this fight up. We deserve sovereignty and real freedom.
The United States royally fucked up because I'm on Rednote. This probably could have been the worst outcome for the United States. They have been trying so hard to get us to hate China, right? And now we have an open window to see how they live, okay? I just watched a video of a man who said that they don't pay property taxes after the mortgage is paid off. And so that's why there's not a lot of homeless people. I mean, I'm just doing other reasons too in China, is because once people pay off their homes, It's their home. They don't have to deal with the rising taxes, that like property taxes. There's a bunch of people who live in my neighborhood, older people who had to leave, right? And I'm sure in other communities too, because the property taxes became too much and they couldn't pay those taxes off of no income or like social security, right? And so that people are now learning about these things, hearing about these things from people living in China. Yet we've been told that China is like the worst. This is like honestly probably one of the worst outcomes that could have came from this TikTok thing, at least for the American government. Because now we know what to ask for. We have a higher like bar to reach for. You know what I'm saying? We can ask for more from our politicians. We can ask for change in our laws. Anyways, very, very eye-opening.
I have an advice for Americans. Like, from all these things, I get the feeling that you are selling to us things that you don't use. Social media, Google, Meta, all these things came from you. And Google is free. Like, why is that you don't put upon yourself to just educate yourself for the rest of the world, on the rest of the world, so that you don't get to believe everything that you are told, Seeing a grown woman, like, saying, America made us believe, like, how? Like, there's internet, we're educated. Like, why is it hard to do research to know what is happening around the world? Yeah, so why? Like, what's the limitation? Are they searches that you can't access? Or you're just not interested about anybody, like, except you guys? Yeah, like, what's the problem? Like, Americans, tell us, please.